is beating, it's magical, the music's playing, losing control, the things I'm feeling, so mystical, oh, the rhythm goes, and I can't feel the heat, and I keep moving to the beat. Cause I'm letting go. Ooh, gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we dancing all night long. We don't care, we dancing all night long. We don't care, we dancing all night long. Dancing all night long. My heart is beating, it's magical, the music's playing, losing control, the things I'm feeling, so mystical, oh, the rhythm goes, and I can't feel the heat, and I keep moving to the beat, cause I'm letting go. Ooh, gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we dancing all night long. We don't care, we dancing all night long. We don't care, we dancing all night long. Dancing all night long. Dancing all night long. 'Cause I'm letting go. Ooh, gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we're dancing all night long.
Holding on to what I know, to everything I've learned, what is real and fabricated, what is wrong, what is my problem, what can I get out of this world that I created, fighting the storms in my head, don't know where I have been, I'm alone, no one to turn to, no one understands, shit's too complicated, away, and I feel like I am someone else, away, and I feel like I don't know myself, no. Away, and I feel like I don't know my name, and I don't want to live this way.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Frankenmuth on Farming Simulator 22. I'm just getting things squared off now. It is 5 a.m. as of September the 1st in-game here. You can see the sun hasn't even come up yet. We've still got the moon hanging in the sky. But we do have a lot of corn to grind up today. So you can see I've got the highlighted fields here with corn. And we have, what, 2 over here. Yeah, there's a lot more corn, but that we don't own. And 3 over here. So we have a total of 5 fields to get rid of some corn today. So that's what we're going to do, is just do some corn silage. Now we have made some minor changes over on the farm. Let's see. Hello? Okay, perfect. Sorry if you hear any sort of echo, that's me just checking things. It didn't show any video coming through. So anyway, we're going to be using the John Deere 8000 here today. Oh, welcome in this morning. I know it's morning for you. It's still morning here for about an hour, but yeah, we're getting started on a corn silage harvest. So first things first, we're gonna head back up here and get some silage treatment. I don't have any rear-facing spotlights on this particular truck, right? How are things going for you today, Mama Duck? I have the game volume turned down, I swear. We won't be using it very long anyway. Ugh. Okay, fine. Not too bad. Well, that's good. No kiddos in church today, huh? That's a difference. There we go. A ranch simulator. Huh. That's interesting. They've got a simulator for everything. I've just come to the conclusion that that's how that goes. Babies to 2. Things could be worse. Ah, a shed of neon green machines. And a little classic red. Babies to 2 can be quite rambunctious. I should know. I have a 3-year-old. I'd be so disappointed if this doesn't, if the cordon's not ready to be ground. Oh my god, you can hear the truck from like right here forward. Cab of this. Well, you definitely can't miss where the truck actually is. Okay, let's get silage treater over here. Refill that. This thing, I mean, most tractors these days are built with soundproofing in the cab, and this game actually imitates that. But yeah, that truck definitely right through it. Actually, I'm just gonna go park this over on the edge. A couple of things. It's got an actual fuel tank and a service bed, so it's actually kind of useful. I could have taken the classic, but that doesn't hold a reserve fuel tank. All right, no more of that. Sorry to deafen everybody at the beginning of the stream. Okay, we need to speed the clock up. I slowed it down last night because I was doing a special project on the side. But now I can speed that back up. ×3 on the clock for right now. Okay. So I think what we're going to actually do is we're going to hit some of the cornfields around dairy farms. Shut off this light. That's not a light switch, that's an electrical outlet. Jesus Christ. I'm doing good this morning. Yeah, no more crazy loud truck. At least not until this thing runs out of silage. And then back to Alright. Turn on the caution flag here. Let's do a crossing. Yeah, even the family's good. The family is kind of enjoying a cooler day. It's actually cooler and breezier today. It's been in the upper 90s here lately, which is it's really hot for us actually. Might not be hot for too many people in your neck of the woods, but that's kind of crazy for us. Got that all set to go. How about you? How's the family doing? Everybody staying healthy? So far we haven't had any issues. Ugh. Hundreds with the heat index. Yeah, no thanks. That's why I don't live in that part of the United States. I don't think I could do that sort of heat. Take the 96 out, I think. Family is good. That's good. Everything come back with the state? Did you get to adopt, or was there bad news that came back with that? I totally agree. I should probably stop jumping subjects. All the AI drivers in this, oh my god, they're scary. It seems fair enough for now. Unfortunately, with the foster system, it seems like the parents are kind of wishy-washy with that sort of thing, no? So, it's like they fight for rights 1 minute, and the next minute they're just kind of, they've lost interest. So I hope in her case it works out for the best. I lived that with my brother being adopted and lived the system directly. I mean, that's fair. I wouldn't want to move to New York. I only live like 6 hours away from New York. It takes about 6 hours to get there if you pass through Vermont. But yeah, I wouldn't dream of going to New York to stay. Wow, okay. Yeah. No. I don't understand why parents do that. Like, as a parent myself, I could never understand. You know, my kid always comes first. And I could never understand, like, doing that to somebody else. To my own kid, leaving them with somebody, and just like not being part of her life would drive me crazy. So, yeah, under those circumstances, I could see why. Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it? You go to be a parent and just nothing. Like I said, I know you understand better than most people because you lived it, you know? Well, guardianship is still doing pretty good, though. She's still eating you out of house and home. Probably. Alright, let's see if I completely messed the title of this stream up before testing to see if it's ready. Nope, I didn't. Yay, we can grind it. There we go. Growing kids, man. My daughter will go days with barely eating anything, and then all of a sudden she'll just constantly eat for 2 or 3 days straight. It's crazy. Well, I am not thrilled with the yield on that. That does not look great. I wonder if I messed something up there. Oh, so the expected yield... Wow, okay. The weeds start growing like immediately after your harvest, which is okay because it's like a hard reset. I'm trying to get a read. Yeah. Yeah, you always have that one kid that really doesn't eat anything, and then have the one kid that never stops eating. Kind of crazy. Yeah. 55 pounds soaking wet at the age of 10. But he'll eventually hit this wonderful thing, you know, where it's called puberty. And then he'll just want to constantly eat and grow on you. You gotta be ready for that. Yeah, it always worries my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law will get her some days where she doesn't eat. And it always seems to put my mother-in-law in panic. And then, like, she'll come home and she'll eat for like 2 days straight. And then she'll have another day with my mother-in-law where she won't. And we have to always tell my wife's mother, calm down, it's okay. She's been eating straight for the last couple of days. You just need to leave her alone about it. So... I don't panic about it anymore because I understand the pattern, but my mother-in-law, even though she sees the pattern, she still panics quite often. And I mean, if that's the only thing that I have trouble with my in-laws on, I'm really not going to complain too much. Yeah, it's just constant when she's hungry, and besides that, I mean, that's what it is, right? They're going to eat when they want to eat, and people just need to get over it. So my wife was kind enough, I only work half a day tomorrow. I still work tomorrow on the 4th. But my wife was kind enough to wrangle the kid by herself today. Normally we take the approach on weekends. But hey, I should be streaming a little more now as well. So one of the other games they play, World of Warships, on Xbox. it's a multiplayer game, and I have a gamer tag that actually closely matches a guy who streams on YouTube who has like 5,000 subscribers, and him and I chat all the time. And this week, for whatever reason, everybody decided to bag on me over my gamer tag on Xbox, which has been my gamer tag for a while. And I told him, and he wasn't impressed with the way people were treating me, but I just got sick and tired of the toxicity and decided to quit. So I uninstalled that game from my Xbox, and I won't be going back. He was absolutely befuddled. We're you know, my gamer tag is literally my name. It's literally it's my streamer handle on this. And nobody's ever bagged on me before, but yeah, they all decided, hey, let's gang up and bag on him for his gamer tag this week for no better reason than just because. So I'm avoiding toxicity by simply avoiding that game altogether. So I'll have at least one day a week where I can actually stream on the regular, I think, which will be nice. But it'll be evenings that I'll be doing it on. So okay, we're actually gonna wait to go into that field. I know I've been crossing some borders here. This is the first major silage harvest that I've done on this map. Made a little last year. I know you can watch evenings. I'm hoping either Tuesday night or like Wednesday late afternoon or early evening, because I work Monday, Tuesday, have Wednesday off, work Thursday, Friday. If I'm not super tired on Tuesdays, I can manage it Tuesday evening. But the problem with Tuesdays is I take what they call it is a north run in my deliveries on those days. So I end up working, normally I would do a couple deliveries that would be local, and then I'd be back, and the longest I'd be in the car, like round trip, would maybe be an hour at the most, depending on how many deliveries and the distance. When I do the north run, which is a once a week thing for me, I'm in the car for like 4-hour blocks at a time. So I get there, I actually there's 10-hour shifts, so I'll work 4 hours in the morning, basically just taking deliveries north. Well, I suspect that it'll be Tuesday evenings for the most part. But, I work like 4 hours, I come back for like an hour, I'll work deliveries. They'll let me have lunch and kind of a rest, and then I'm back up on the road, in the afternoon, another 4 hours, and then I'm back for like 15 minutes. So Wednesday I don't know about yet. I know that I'm gonna try myself to shoot for honestly Tuesday nights if I can help it. That's the hope. I don't want to say for sure one way or the other. Oh, God. I don't mind 10s. I thought I was going to hate 10s. Honestly, this is the first job I've ever had, like a 10-hour shift. Everything else has been 8 hours. But to work 10 hours and have that extra day off is really nice. And then I get that extra day in the middle of the week. So that helps with everything, too. So I don't think I can imagine 12 hours. Yeah, that's not bad. That is not... I don't think I would mind that. And I know he does, like, security, which can either be an active night or a really slow night, depending on what's going on. Yeah. See, it's great because I work no more than 2 days in a row. It took me forever to get that schedule, quite honestly. Or it didn't take me that long, I should say, to get that schedule. It was kind of weird. I worked my way up the ladder to a preferable schedule within 6 months of working there. And somebody left who had that particular shift, and I really wanted that one. So, yeah, I managed to get that one. One lap is 100,000 liters. Yeah. I imagine he prefers a busy night over a dead night. Not enough employees. Wow, isn't that... Like, that is just commonplace right now. And it's... You know, it's like my dad says, there's a million less people in the United States to take these jobs. So it really, it doesn't surprise him that there's a bit of a struggle. You know, that's 1%. That's 1% of the population just gone. They complain about people that can't fill the jobs. I think my work, to be fair, I haven't, you know, I've been there, what, 7, 8 months now. But I think my work went to 10-hour shifts like a year ago, so pretty much a few months before I joined, they went up to 10s, and it works better because honestly, and to be fair, the driver positions, the delivery driver positions that I work at are the only 10-hour shifts in the company, really. My supervisor and like the dispatchers, they can get up to 10 hours a day. They offset it by going home a little earlier towards the end of the week. But it just seems like in order to be effective at driving deliveries, you need to have a 10-hour window. Because I can come in at 6:45 in the morning and start the shift, you know, clock in 15 minutes early. And there will be stuff that needs to go out. $16 years, holy schmoly. Yeah, it's impressive to see people last like a year when you look at like work ethic and the way that people handle things these days. It's amazing to see people go like a full year at places. Because like a lot of those types of jobs are like revolving doors. You know, they come in, they work, they get just enough time, and then they get fed up with it and they leave. 16 years, holy shit. So does he prefer the longer shifts, or did he like it the way it was prior to, you know, not enough help? What can I say? Good work ethic must run in the families. Nah, if you find a job that you can really do and you don't mind it, you know, it doesn't have to be like your most favorite thing in the world, but if you can find a job that works for you, that is true. It does give more time. But anyway, like I was saying, it's like finding a job that works for you, even if it's not something you necessarily like all of the time, is one of those things that really kind of resonates with you, because you don't want to leave something that you enjoy. It's like I think this is the first job where I've really ever excelled at anything in the job, and so I'm taking it for everything I can, and I have no intentions of leaving right now. Pay may be the issue that drives me to get a different job. I'd love to stay. I'd love to put the time. Yeah. Well, I think that comes with not to knock on it, but I think some of that comes with age. Because the things that I deal with my parents directly, yeah, especially with the whole world kind of going crazy. But some of the things that I deal with directly with my parents, it would just kind of make you scratch your head. Because the older people get, like, the stranger things become. And I don't want to attribute that to, like, dementia or anything like that. I'm not trying to target the older demographic. But it seems like at some point in your age, yeah, I get that a lot. It's like, you know, I'm sure his grandparents probably felt very similar about, like, World War II. You know, when you think about it, everybody thinks they're living the most pivotal part of human history, right? And it's kind of crazy. People are getting really crazy right now. But if you look at kind of the repeating cycle of history, these same events, these types of things were going on in the time of our great-grandparents and our grandparents as kids or young adults. So it's hard, because everybody thinks, oh my God, the world's gonna end because some crazy Eastern European guy has decided to lay waste to this little podunk country of wheat farmers. The reality is Russia's gone in there, not to bring up current events too much. Russia's gone in there numerous times and done the same thing to these people every time. They just don't like Ukraine. I won't get into it for the sake of, I don't want Twitch to get all crazy on me. But, you know, look up history between Russia and Ukraine. Those people don't like each other, period. And I don't agree with what they're doing right now. But that doesn't mean that I have to be afraid of some crazy guy who thinks pushing a button is going to be the answer. And then again, like, a meteor could come out of nowhere and just, like, end us all anyway. Like, a lot of people walk their day-to-day lives not thinking about the fact that we are a little marble in a giant floating galaxy of hurt. You know? So I choose not to get too bent out of shape about it lately, because A, it's not worth wasting my energy on, and B, it's like there's a lot of things that are just out of our control. We can't control it. And then with politics, forget it. I'm not talking politics because I feel like anyone who's a politician has lost base with what the people actually want. Okay, I'll see you later, Mama Duck. Have a good church service. Oh, I'm gonna definitely have a great day. You do the same. I'm sure we'll get a chance to chit-chat next week. Well, the yield along the edge was not as good. But for some reason, I'm pulling a better yield now. I don't know if this corn is... because it's odd, right? It's like it's reading green now. I think we're going to go ahead and detach the trailer. Get myself to have... yeah, that field's reading great through here. I mean, you can see 92% yield rates. Needs plowing, of course. Now, if you are playing precision farming, I just want to let anybody in who might be watching the video later, and sorry that conversations don't necessarily show. on the later subject, only the chat windows, right? If you are playing precision farming, I can advise you that that right now, as it stands, plowing a field, if you have plowing, you know, occasionally set, if you have plowing set, like needs to be plowed on occasion, whatever you call it, it will not actually affect the overall environmental score. It actually balances itself out really well. I was surprised to discover that. Essentially, if the field needs turning over, the game, even though the game does tell you that you will lose points in your environmental score for that, you only lose points if you plow that, you know, prior to it actually needing it. If you play in a game mode that requires you to turn the field over from time to time, it's not actually going to require it. So do keep that in mind as well. Alright, so we got the 9620 out just to haul the silage over to the bunk. We're going to use the truck to back that in. I'm not good with swivel axles. I'm just going to be open and honest. The back truck is extremely good. Love this Max. Macliner X, I think is what they call it, by 82 Studios. It's the best. Probably shouldn't have parked it on tilted ground. Let's see if we can come at it from the angle. Yay! Okay. Note to self, that little dip in the ground is not good. Okay, so we have a bunker here. This bunker has lines right on the side wall. And, I just didn't want to chase the trailer down the field. But this bunk has lines, and for each line is 1 million liters. So we're going to see how far we can go with it. I have expanded the operations out. You can see kind of in the background of the bunk there's an open field. I have expanded the operations out to beef cattle as well. We're going to get... We're going to do our best to kind of fill this up. Okay. Now I've got the bulldozer out for a try. I haven't actually tried it on a bunk yet. I believe in experiments while you're streaming, right? Like, streaming is a joy to do. But some of the best outcomes to streams come from experimenting with everything. Seems like I'm a little stuck here. All right, there we go. All right, so we are gonna just pile along the corners and the outer edge. We're gonna get ourselves set up with this bunk, and we're gonna see how much we can get out of 5 fields. I haven't given much as far as cattle farming goes yet, so we're trying a few things out with this farm. Frankenmuth is not the only map that we'll be streaming. I realize for the last month it has been the only map, and you may have noticed quite a face change from the last stream that we had. I try to experiment in my time in between and get a good grasp as to what's going on with the stream. And it was not good. The equipment that I was using could not actually handle the type of farming that I'm doing here. I'm doing big farming. And I think there are 3 brands to look at when you're doing big farming. There are 3 brands that I look at for American farms anyway, and you guys can kind of shuffle in as you need to, or speak up as you need to with this. I won't take offense to like anybody's brand loyalty, but my brand knowledge and loyalty lies in John Deere. But there are 3 major brands in the US that I think really kind of
that I see a lot when I'm dealing with farming. There's of course John Deere, which is what we ended up using in the end here. There is Case International, and then there is Case New Holland. And yeah, Fiat Agri, whatever you want to call it, there's still, at the end of the day, they're both owned by Case, you know, because they're both owned by Fiat. So I have a minor weak spot for New Holland stuff. But my base knowledge really goes to John Deere, and I'm not a huge fan of newer Case models. There are quite a lot of classic Case International harvester models that I really enjoy and I've used, but it's basically, for me, a big farm like this, I feel most comfortable with John Deere. So that's what we're doing, is we're doing John Deere. Now, the thing that's really throwing me off with the farming animals bit is the consumption rate at which the cattle actually consume feed. If you know what I mean, then great. Obviously, I come from, there you go, shutting off the lights. I come from FS19 simulation style with seasons. I'm not gonna try to hide that fact that I'm a bit heavy on the simulation end. Obviously, you know, I'm using the unrealistic capacity. I'm kind of like a mix. You know, we see DJ Goham really doesn't do things by simulation. He likes to goof off. He likes to have like unreal capacities, unreal speeds, things like that. Clutch Simulations and I share a similar play style. It's not super realistic, but at the same time it needs to be somewhat realistic. So I'd say I'm probably closely matched in my play style. Now look at these yields coming across this field. This is solid all of a sudden. I have noticed that the John Deere 8000, just as a heads up to any of you that get into mods, the 8000 series seems to go through a lot more silage preservative than any of the other harvesters. I don't know if something's just up with the coating on it or what, but I wanted to start with a smaller model of John Deere forage harvester before going to the 9000. The 8000 is pretty common here in the States as far as forage harvesters go. I will tell you that I will be going for some different brands when it comes to the other streams. Now, the reason that I've held off on other streams is actually twofold at this point. A, the map selection, even though it varies, there hasn't been anything that I really want to play yet. And B, the ones that I do want to play that have come out are all going to be having updates. So I'm keeping an eye out for the updates that will allow us to put those into effect, and then I won't have to worry if the update will require a game save or not. Because if you require a new game save and you've already put like 20 hours into a stream, the last thing I want to do is have to play on that map for 40 hours to get us right back to where we were. So obviously, Frankenmuth here is proven, and it's probably as updated as it's gonna get. I know that some people I know that some people have an issue with Frankenmuth, and that's certainly your business. But Frankenmuth actually imitates Michigan to me. It has that Michigan feel. The parts that I've been to have big tile plowing on them to keep them dry, and they've got large drainage ditches and things like that. I know that this map is based on an area of Michigan, and it's not necessarily animated and designed like Frankenmuth itself, but it is enjoyable enough for me to put time in. Now there are some productions that I have that I won't get into today because we're doing silage farming. You know, this silage feed right here is going to go to the cattle. Now I have 50 head of, or I have 48 head of Black Angus. I have over 200 head of dairy cows, Holsteins in particular. So we're going to see between the Angus and the Holstein, the young Holsteins and the Holsteins that are bearing, you know, calves and giving us milk, we're going to see what kind of scenario we run into. It may be enough that they'll eat the feed and they won't have anything else going on. It may be a scenario where they don't necessarily eat the feed still. I don't know at what point in this game feed consumption goes up. I have no idea at what point it's noticeably a struggle for farmers to keep up with supply and demand on food. I can tell you that if a surplus continues for the next couple in-game years here on Frankenmuth, I can tell you that I'm probably going to go ahead and save my money that I get from production. And I'm going to go ahead and forward creating a biogas plant and going into alternate energies. There is a goal that I have right now on the farm to get the heating for the house and the workshop over there in the main yard to bio-heat. And there is a little bio-heat furnace and grinder that you put wood chips into. So I do have a field, one of the two fields that I bought that are kind of away from the main farm. I do have one of them planted with poplar, and as soon as the poplar are obviously grown enough to ship up with the forage harvester here, I'm going to go ahead and install the furnace and get that set into place as well. So there's a few things that I have goals for, obviously, to improve the yard here. Today, though, corn silage is always fun. This is like my favorite thing to do. It's very time consuming. I don't know if we're going to go into multiple days here. I can tell you on American Life Farming, we had a couple large fields like this in FS19, and I pretty much spent the entire season that corn was ripe just grinding it up in chaff like this. We are using quite a lot of our silage additive, so it's a good thing I brought those tanks out. Those tanks, those little tubs that you saw, those hold 50 liters of additive, and I think the additive tank in this was something like 20 or 25 liters of additive. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this around. So yeah, I have changed the equipment over to John Deere. Unfortunately, the versatile wagons actually struggled to carry those auger wagons that you saw. Now, I do have planned to use the versatile Delta tracks and even 4x4s, but I also have them planned in conjunction with Kubota tractors. So, as many of you may have known, the Kubota tractor DLC recently came out. And one thing about Kubota tractors is they don't have a tractor currently that goes over 200 horsepower. And the largest tractor that they have, it's on 200 horsepower. And the most recent pack that came out, the most recent expansion that just came out this last week, was the Kubota DLC. So I plan on doing some small tractor farming and possibly setting up a sheep farm with it and doing like a sheep ranch. I haven't figured out where that's going to happen yet. There's a couple of maps. Obviously, the biggest, most baddest map came out, which was Stone Valley 22. Anybody who knows my FS19 career knows that for the last 6 months of streaming, it was basically Stone Valley and American Life Farming. Stone Valley has changed tremendously. And so I am waiting to see what happens with that map before I move forward with it. So we're not moving forward into that yet. There's an update that he's already put together and he's sending out. American Life of Farming had about 4 or 5 updates, if I remember right, before I started streaming it, and I lost several saves. Not really lost them as in they were wiped, but I lost them due to the fact that the updates required a game save. So I'm waiting for this to go through before I make my choice. But we've got a few different maps to choose from. There was actually a map that takes place, the location is Canada. So I'm waiting to see that come out. Actually, if that went through testing and passed Friday afternoon, we should see that on Monday. I know I only have a half day on Monday, but Monday's Independence Day here in the United States. So anybody who is American is going to be celebrating, obviously our Declaration of Independence from the Kingdom of England. The English. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Anyway, there is that going on. I was actually scheduled to have a whole day off, which means I would have taken a day to probably stream had I had the opportunity. Today would have been a workout on the lawn day, where I've got a half day's work. I figure I'll come home and work on the lawn. Just all things will work out in my head, I guess. Getting quite a load from this. I would not be surprised if I didn't actually make it back all the way, but that's the reason we have the tractor down here, right? I will say on my pass back through, I'll probably do some more silage out of it. But like I was mentioning, silage additive doesn't normally go this quick. So I think it's something to do with the 8,000 model harvester itself. Because normally with the 9,000, I don't have these sorts of problems. Turning in here is there you can see we're taking out some stalks. These little alcoves or these little portions tucked off to the side, I don't ahead of time or ahead of these main alleyways, if you will. I can get a lot more done in the alleyways. I don't know what's up with the... I honestly don't know why the corn yield is giving me this spotty feedback. I could not tell you the least why every other... Whoop! Hold up. Need to pay better attention to that. There is enough room to really kind of maneuver now, which is always good. I'm gonna pop it down right here. And do be warned, I have a ton of equipment on this map currently. So it's not gonna be easy in some cases to zoom around. But yeah, it's some exciting things coming up for the stream. Some things that I'm looking forward to. Some smaller types of farming. There's no easy way to say you have too much equipment to try try to zoom around the map and find the right piece. This is another area where I don't necessarily keep to the realism. Trying to zoom around the map. So we're at 500,000 liters so far. Hoping to at least get a couple million liters in this year. And then, like I said, depending on what the cows do with it, I have no experience with FS19 and the animal system, really. I've had a couple of small dairy operations, and I feel like this is kind of on that small dairy operation part, but it seems to me like it's going slow. Like their consumption of feed is not matching up with what I'm producing. Now this could of course change as maturity reaches the same group, and beef cattle have calves of their own. I got a group mature enough to supply me with calves, and another group that's still too young and will take time. I decided to just get a mix. Even in FS19, I was not experienced with beef cow. It's just not something that I'm even experienced with in real life. Obviously, you raise it very similar to a dairy cow without harvesting the dairy, and then you do a few other crops on the side to kind of substitute, or a few other things to substitute the lack of dairy coming in. So I do understand that it works in general kind of like that for a lot of farmers. But I figured where I have such a large operation going here in the first place, getting a little beef would not be detrimental to anybody. $96.20 I actually bought to plant crops with and to haul stuff like this. I actually have another tractor. We have two articulating tractors on hand. Versatile ones, maybe I'll give another shot to them, but I just decided, if we're gonna have a big operation like this, we should really have a big operation. So, the dairy operation got John Deere. Sheep operation, where that's mostly going to consist of hay, is going to get the Kubota one way or the other. I may raise horses as well in that one. I've never done horses. I'm trying to move to livestock. I've never done either one of the games. So I've never done horses. I've never done sheep. Well, obviously I had to do a little. 100% got. And I've done pigs in FS19. I did a rather large pig farm. I played around with that stuff prior to streaming, and in fact, I think I was down to like one achievement at the time I got to stream. Alright, so let's start here. Like I said, we're going to fill in the back first. Got 500,000 liters harvested off of this. Reposition the trailer. I want to fill in the gaps between these hills too. The bulldozer is cool, but I want to get the back filled in before I start filling out the front. Obviously, at a million liters, it's not going to be very difficult to do that sort of thing. It is a little time consuming to try to flatten out the top of this, but I've never had a bunk like entirely flat, and I really want to do that. And at the same time, we're going to see if the bulldozer works. The bulldozer may not work. I've had some difficulties with the bulldozer pushing around a couple other crop materials. So you can imagine right away just like how crazy it was to try to get crop situated. But I do want to situate the back of the bunk to at least be level if possible. and then of course kind of move from there. I think these lines are pretty accurate, at least I think. This bunk is one of a couple of different bunks that look really cool, and I decided where we're really gonna kind of experiment with consumption feed and things on this map. The best thing I could do is to go ahead and just fill up this bunk. Obviously, as you can see, the back of the trailer catches, and this is common in all instances of this tipper. This is not anything new. This tipper has always got material or caught on the back bunk, but as you can see, it's like 500,000 liters right there. Barely put a dent in the space on this thing. And to be honest with you, it's gonna be, well, we're getting the cow we're getting the cow pasture data right here. There is some overlap. We do we shut off the clipping, allow it to kind of clip and get close to the area, and we did allow the cow pasture. Just gonna double check. You can see the walls are animated kind of thick, so you can actually get up on everything. This is actually a really cool bunk, kind of like this design. When it was being shown with some pictures, they had some of the silage additive, like the base game stuff, stacked up on these shelves. So it's really cool. The ladders, unfortunately, don't work, but there are very few ladders that actually work. Patch this sucker right here. Axe Superliner X. Fantastic beast of a machine. It really is. Alright, so luckily we got a chaff readout. Looks like 478,650 is the total. I think there's some sort of loss when it gets poured into a bunker. I don't know why. But, nothing's ever set up perfect. And I try not to pay attention too much to it, simply because it is what it is. It's still, at the end of the day, it's still a game. Obviously, you look around the farm, you see a lot of modded equipment and tractors. I will tell you, I am highly impressed with the Kubota DLC, and I'll be making quite a push on that. One of the new brands that we welcomed in with this giant roller was Mandako. If you're a fan, if you live in the Midwest or you're a fan of farming, you'll know what a Mandako is. This is a land roller, so this will actually roll out our crops, and this kind of matches American style and feel. And you can actually lift the rollers when the implement is unfolded. So the advantage we have here is the implement will actually be unfolded, and you lift the rollers up off the ground, make your turn. So I haven't tried it with anything yet. I'm half tempted just to rent a Versatile Delta track just to see what you can do with it, but yeah, that's a push for another day. All this corn. Now, in reality, I mean, we have some decent sized cornfields on the other side here too. But in reality, if the consumption picks up, we're probably going to have to double and triple the amount of fields carrying corn. We have 3 fields currently growing hay. We have 1 more round of hay to take in. Because we're using the dryer now, we're not baling any of it. taking it in actually pick up that 1,000 model there. And it works great for picking up and dropping the hay. Put it into the dryer dries it, and then we go ahead and put it into the silo system. So there's actually quite a bit more. Right, let's see. Catch it. May have noticed I'm back on light stream after a short hiatus. Turns out that they will take payment on something if your payment method messes up 1 month and then all of a sudden clears itself up. There are a few companies out there that do that. I did not realize that Stream was one of them. Where my streaming is going to pick up again here. We're going to go ahead and keep streaming out. Like the menus, the logs, thanks for showing up, the pause screens. We're going to make a couple custom ones here. I think Frankenmuth is going to get its own custom one with maybe some pictures of the Frankenmuth area. But of course, a Kubota one will get a custom one. So get ready, keep an eye out for that. That's going to be fun. I enjoy making those slides. They're really simple to make. Obviously, we stream at a 720p because any higher resolution, I'd have to go higher in cost. I want to do that sort of thing. $12 is enough. Yeah, so we're working our way through this cornfield today. Not much else going on. I like corn harvests. They're easy. Farm YouTubers that we have, they start grinding up their corn. I tend to watch. I think on the Kubota farm, been thinking about equipment that I want. And I think on the Kubota farm, what's going to end up occurring is we're going to actually go ahead and our harvesters will move cloths, and our big equipment, our big tractors, planters, and seeders that we will work our way up to, will do first. That's how grain carts, I may go with something a little smaller, like a Q3. For some reason, the big Demco ones, just they need a big articulating tractor with solid block. And with my switch over to John Deere, it was easier for me to get something with a block that was heavier. I don't know why the Versatile didn't work. I mean, they had what I call chin weights, which are weights that mount to the bottom of the nose, kind of jut out like a chin. And they had those, and it still didn't make a big enough difference. So it was very disappointing there because honestly, I was hoping Versatile would work like an egg co-farm. The other problem was I was running out of space internally for mods. Now there was something that recently occurred in the most recent patch, not to overuse it. The most recent patch actually had an occurrence with it that involved something with mod space that Xbox users have. So I right here have an Xbox Series X, and I use the dickens out of it all the time. And that's something that I have a lot of the time. Oops. Okay, right there may actually work. We're at 70, so I'm going to have to move the truck here. But anyway, there was an instance in which the patch went through. I went to go check out my mods, and there were no mods listed as installed. Now that got me a little upset, because Mod Hub just was not installed. There wasn't a lot of videos out yet on the patches, and you know, with these 12-hour or with these 10-hour work days, I'm basically gone from the house 12 hours a day, just because of like travel and things like that. So I don't typically get to see information and updates as they come through. Real time. Yes, I have a phone. Yes, I use a phone. Hello. Driving most of the day. So drive most of the day. It's not like you can. It's not like you can exactly watch YouTube videos, text, or anything else. I'm not supposed to. Anyway. So, needless to say, I was not aware that through Giants were able to discover a different area in which to save your mods and kind of cache the mods away into files. And they were able to convince Xbox to give them pathway access to that. And they were able to double the space of mod installs. So I've got literally every mod I had before. And I was scraping the bottom of the barrel at about 94% full, which was distressing because it definitely felt like I didn't have as much space as I did previously. And I was able to actually, now I'm sitting at just around 49-50%. So usage of the mods, you know, and being able to open up that space, it's been nice. It really has, because now I can be flexible. And if there's something I like or something small that I want to add that I wasn't adding before, I'm able to do so. I'm able to hold multiple maps. And map sizes are not tremendously large. It's like Stone Valley, for example. I have Stone Valley installed. Stone Valley 22. I wish he'd re-release Stone Valley 19 and let us have a faithful recreation of that in the last 2 games. But that's his choice as the map creator. I'm not gonna gripe too much. He's got some unique farmyards in there. They're just not as customizable as I like, and that's part of the reason that I'm hesitant. So anyway, we have that going on. Stone Valley. It's a lot smaller of a file size than it used to be, and it's because they found in a lot of ways that we've been able to enhance the way that the games render stuff. They've been able to enhance textures, and they've been able to shrink down file size with doing it, making it more efficient. Just for example, the engineers at Giants themselves have made things a lot more efficient between last patch and this patch. So things don't, I don't lose frame rate as quick. I mean, I'm in an area, that farmyard back there has so much equipment and so many buildings and things to render that it still chugs, even though it's more efficient. It still chugs a little, but it's not nearly as much as it used to chug. So I am happy to see things going the way that it needs to over there. I just wish that there were more faithful recreations of the maps that people like. Bullet Bill, obviously, he's coming back to Farming Simulator 22. He's got a map that he's creating right now that is a British map, a map based in the UK. So we'll see what he does there. Obviously, at this point, there can be no disappointment because he's already announced that Lone Oak, which is an extremely popular map in the previous Farming Simulators, is not coming back. This is not going to start a tangent of criticism. I just want to be very clear right now. He's decided that he's just got to work on mods that are new mods and maps that are new maps. And that's gotten a little flack from the community on it. In fact, like I've mentioned in previous videos, I feel like the toxic portion of this game have to do with modders and not the modders themselves, but the way the community demands things. This is a very unique game in the way that it offers mods to the player. I'm not gonna lie, you know, I play Bethesda games, and they have a mod section in there, and the mod section's nice, but I don't feel like the modders there spoil players like they do here. It's like me. I'm playing on a modder created map with a modder created equipment. Yeah, sure, there's some similarities in the 8000 to the 9000s. But I mean, that tractor across the way there that you can see in the distance, that's a mod created tractor. The trailer, the dolly system on this, these are mods. You know? And 90% of this game is made up of mods. The base game is good, and the Kubota pack hit it right out of the park. I just want to, you know, if there's any members of Giants that sees this stream, I just want to let you guys know, hit the Kubota pack out of the park. It just cruised on by. I wish there was a versatile pack. I really want to see some other things with versatile besides the 4x4. Maybe it's because I live so close to Canada. I don't live close to Manitoba, but I do live so close to Canada, being on a state that borders Canada, that I don't mind the idea of it. But you guys really knocked the Kubota pack out of the park. And I know you've had a lot of equipment that's released post-game. You've had a lot of equipment that you've put into the mod hub as kind of an optional, let's not take up game space kind of thing. I just want you guys to know it's fantastic. You are keeping up with your game. You're keeping up with improvements. There are a few gripes that I have, and that's my own personal preferences getting in the way. I feel like, you know, Seasons 19 really kind of spoiled me, being even more of a simulator than this can be. But you've made a game about farming that's highly accessible to the community. And it needs to be praised. I go on tangents. Like, I am literally going on a tangent about this. But, you know, you need to be given credit for what you've done here, because you created a game that has kind of bridged the gap between simulator and, you know, accessible farming style game for other people. That's not easy to do, and you guys have been working at this for a very long time. I know that there are some of us that are really, really spoiled beyond where we should be, and we should be very thankful for what we have and not complain about the process and not complain about the stuff coming out. You know, the first DLC pack, not my jam, because I'm not big into the European farming style, and I'm not big into, you know, vineyards. To criticize you, though, it's not really fair, because I'm sure there were a large group of people that were very happy with that pack. And, you know, you need to know you've been hitting it out of the park. Not enough people give you guys credit for this. I'm giving you credit right now. I'm telling you right now that you've done an exceptional job, and people need to leave you guys alone about it. But, you know, that's my spiel. Obviously, like I said, animal consumption is a complaint of mine. You know, I don't feel like animals were done with the simulator side of things really being given a chance. Because I run 3-day months. And I know the game was designed around 1-day months. And so feed consumption was probably a bit more extreme at that point. But I mean, at the end of the day, what can you do with that? All right, we're gonna buzz on over here. I know we're about 30,000 meters short. Well, we're about 22,000 meters, give or take. We're gonna just buzz over here real quick and just do this. this drop off with the tractor, with the harvester? It doesn't make sense to get the tractor involved. Max Superliner X or 10. This is a gorgeous truck by 82 Studios. I know it's just kind of a up-res, up-design version of some of the Max we already have in the game. But to make something, you know, I like the TLX Phoenix, don't get me wrong, but I like named vehicles, and I feel like 82 Studios did that kind of to give us the named official vehicle. Like, if you like trucks in general, though, check out the TLX. It's definitely boss. I keep getting caught in that. There's something that just, like, I am legitimately. I just keep getting caught in something right along the edge. Does not like the back edge. I can't blame it, but I can also say enough is enough. Like I said, I want to distribute this as evenly as possible. So just start off the bunk, those gaps filled in on the very back. At 1,000,000 liters or so, I will probably work at packing some of this down. I haven't made up my mind on that yet. So there we go there. That's all nice and back that right into the corner. We're going to do the same there. And we may sell the bulldozer, maybe fit of what the hell, and get ourselves set up with an actual leveling blade and packer. We don't have to do that. Unfortunately for us, we don't have the Carl's Farms blade from 19. I'm missing Dickens out of that because that was a great one to have when articulating tractors in particular, like the 9600 for example. Great one of those blades. And there are a lot of farmers out there, larger farms, larger farms like this, that have that exact setup. Empty now. Yeah, we get 700,000 in the bunk. Attach here. So you can see we've got a barn set up. This has got technically these are cabs. There's 36 of them in here. Got another group of new-ish born. Basically, our dry cows are going over to separate barns. And then we have the beef operation as well. There have been some newer New Holland mods. Some great ones coming out here recently, including a methane-powered tractor at 180 horsepower, not just the crawler tracks from the base game. I don't know if the concept is real or not. I haven't taken a chance to look up the tractor and see if it actually exists on, but it's a really cool one. Obviously, alternate fuels is something that I want to get into with one of the streams. Like bio burners and things like that. So there will be a point in which we actually that industry. These streams are meant to be simple, though. Like I said, it's an animal experiment because we're gonna take it to the next level for now. Obviously, this area was painted in concrete. I don't know why it painted. I guess it painted between the rows. I got too close to the piece with the tool. And, it decided it was going to still give me the corn. So I tried to paint over the corn. So luckily, we don't have to worry about losing the edge there. We are going to clean up that edge, and we are actually going to duck a roadway into the primary yard and out to our hay side. I am going to go ahead and install one more hay field as well. Doing 100% of the time hay. Hay is one of our base silage. Obviously, as you can see with silage, it's pretty easy to produce it. A couple of big cornfields will probably give you more than enough to handle a couple of years. Thought has crossed my mind to go ahead and put soybean in for next year's. Focus first. Today's stream is just grinding. So far, I have not been disappointed. In fact, the yields have really come up in the center of this map. I don't know what's going on with the lower map. If it's a soil difference type or what's going on with that. Excuse me, I'm stretching. Taking advantage of the opportunity to just find us. Big plus here. You may have noticed we do have the head that actually mulches corn stalks. I think it is the stalk crusher pack. It actually comes in a pack of different forage harvester corn heads specifically to go ahead and crush your stalks. Other equipment, we could definitely do all crop headers, which if we decide to do something along the lines of, say, soybean, we'll definitely shift up to all crop header. Although, to be perfectly honest with you, we can actually do all crop headers. So, I haven't made up my mind on equipment yet. Obviously, there's some equipment that I want to get rid away here, some I already have, and a lot of the actual equipment was bought by selling the other equipment and bringing in new equipment. The other thing is the productions have been making me enough money where I can pay for a loan, or I can get up and I can go ahead with that loan and actually pay it back using production. This is the first farm where that's been really kind of successful. Trailer takes out a little bit, which is okay. I mean, it's gonna do that. The way that I turn and swim. I have no idea why the crop does really lines in some spots. I have no idea what that's all about. I think we've got enough space in this corner to need to get it wide enough, and you don't want to destroy cropland. Like up. Next row. Let's see, easiest for Dan there.
We are going to have to spend a majority of our time plowing up these fields. Now that, like I said, if it becomes a necessity, the actual crop being environment, the field just needing to will not hurt the environmental score. I thought for sure that the tillage would cause issues because it does watch that. So essentially, you just don't want to plow instead of having one piece of equipment do all the tillage jobs, like using a plow and a cultivator. Instead of doing that, you actually have to have the disc harrow and the cultivation process. Oh, excuse me. Obviously, I use seed drills and I use planters that don't require that. They're all no-till required. So I have a situation where if it doesn't need to be plowed, go ahead and just use the options. Unfortunately, a large majority of our wheat field across the way, for example, that will not have to be tilled. Because that's wheat. I think we're going to go till about 2 o'clock today. Fortunately, I just don't see the ability to any later. I'm going to get a few things done before the 4th of July celebrations tomorrow. Half day of work and all of that. Charge things up and have them ready to go tomorrow. Going to work to sit around and some paid foods and Nintendo Switch for the half day that we work, because there's likely to be no deliveries. Right. I have to maneuver this sucker really. Gonna do is we're gonna start grinding away this little way here. Oh boy. Need some silage preservative. Some silage additive, sorry. Some of the areas in this field yield wonderfully. While others are not yielding so grand. Let's detach this sucker. Yeah, the tractor's close enough. I'll run it. I like pulling the 9620 out just to do silly things like this. See, I got my John Deere juice. Hoping that map set in Canada would be nice. There's American sheds coming out here. There's some mods coming out that are really kind of set up. So it's been one of the more interesting parts of this. It's just production. Simply because silos like that big, those can be set up to produce silage from chaff. That's how they work. They work like a production. Unfortunately, that one right there, it works too slow. It's been working on 600,000 liters of chaff for the last year and a half in game. So definitely not a return. You see that actually demolished as soon as it's done its thing. It's not going to exist anymore. I want to attach the trailer. Dollies have been a little difficult as well to connect to the main thing. Just because they're so light, the tires come off the ground very easily. And that's actually caused some problems with some of the dollies that we used to use. I used to use the 82 Studios one. I came specifically with the X52. I haven't gone back to see if maybe there's been some adjustments or patches. So don't quote me on that, but I have actually moved away from those to more stable runs that seem to keep the tires on the ground. Mentioning weight and everything else, it's really kind of put a different spin on what we're doing versus not doing in farm sim. So let's go ahead, let's fill from the edge here. See, there's kind of a limit set on how much chaff you can actually get into an area. You don't want to fill up a bunk, or you want to pull forward and adjust the trailer without filling up the bunk. Pretty much just this stop tipping the trailer, stop offloading it. It'll actually stop offloading it automatically. I don't know how accurate those lines are on the side of this. Okay. So that's as far forward as I want to get for this height. Now we're going to make it that far forward on all modes. So at some point I should probably take, just try to let the chaff go where it wants to go. For now, I want to fill it up exactly how I want to fill it up. So 31,000 much. It's just right. I do want to make this as even across the board as I possibly can. I don't want people to have to worry about any of this. Frankenmuth. What do you guys think of Frankenmuth so far? Some modders, or some players have really enjoyed this map. Others have not really had it hit for them. I would like to do something on Comston, but everybody's doing something on Comston. Or wrapping up Comston. I'm partial to North American maps. There's a lot of things that I understand. There's a lot of equipment that I understand. There's still a lot, even in North America, that I don't. I'm not a farmer by trade. I grew up around it. So there are portions that I know really well, but I don't necessarily. And I choose not to pretend like I know everything. But North American maps are what I feel comfortable with. So things like Comston get pushed to the back. Bullet Bill's map that's coming up may be the one that I actually missed. He had to come out recently, speaking of toxicity, he had to come out recently and really reinforce the fact that he's back to Farming Simulator in this most recent iteration. And it was difficult to comprehend a good map not coming out. It's like I even say I wish we had a rendition of Stone Valley that was like the original Stone Valley, just redone. But Lancey Boy didn't want to do that this time around. He wanted to do something that captured kind of a different spirit. I mean, if you've never played a farming simulator game and you want to play Stone Valley 22, you'd be like, no wonder why everybody really likes Stone Valley. It's not necessary, it's definitely not the same Stone Valley that we had prior. I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't have an area where I can build my own farm, and some of the farmyards themselves, you can't modify the buildings that they're on. So for example, the dairy farm was something that I was very interested in playing for me, but I couldn't get rid of the prop house that was sitting on the property. That's kind of, here's the farmer's house. They had fence around it, and they had lawn. I wouldn't say lawn equipment. They had lawn things like picnic tables and things like that. So they had a solid decoration scheme.
Nancy Boy always does really well with regards to that. But it came down to the simple matter of the fact that we didn't necessarily have the ability to change that. I can't get rid of the house for the example. And then you go to delete like one object, that object is tied with like 5 other objects in the yard. And I don't know if that's due to coding or whether that's due to like some sort of shortcut that you can perform. I don't build mods. I don't build mod maps. I don't do any of that stuff. So for me, I don't understand that process. So I'm not criticizing. I wish that when I went into a help window, that I could get my question answered. Now these modders, they're busy. They don't necessarily have as massive communities as some other games out there. Farming Simulator is pretty big, and the modders that make like the best maps are well known to everybody. You know? But the problem is, it's like I asked the question. I asked the question when it came to that exact issue. You know, is this supposed to be the way that this is set up, or is this supposed to be set up in a way that allows it to be modified? Is it a glitch I'm facing with the Xbox, or is that your design? And I tagged Lancey, and he had been very active in answering questions on the problems that the map was having. You know, he set up an area where you could report glitches or issues you're having with the map, and he was very quick to respond to individuals that tagged him in their questions. And so, is this a glitch, or is this something that's part of the design, Lancing Boy, I asked. And I feel like I was the only one that didn't get the question answered. Nobody even from the community that would bring up was answer the question. I'm not trying to be a pest. Like I said, if it's part of the design, it's part of the design. I don't know how these are coded. But don't sit there and answer everyone else in your community completely wrong question. You know, just say yay or nay. It's that simple. You know, I apologize for wasting anybody's time with these things. But, you know, it would be nice to have my question answered. Sid Modding is a modder that's out there. And, you know, he depends quite a lot on donations. And donations are something I don't have the money for right now. But he understands, and he answers my questions. He gives me feedback, like he does every other individual in his community. And you know what? He's got a pretty large community, too, because of the mods he puts together. He puts together some of the best John Deere and Challenger mods that I've ever played around with. So, to get an answer from somebody who's a big modder to somebody who's a pretty big modder themselves and makes maps and is reporting glitches and making fixes, it would be nice to at least have my question answered. You know, I don't need some long-winded thing. Yes, it's part of the map design. No, you're not going to be able to delete that farmhouse. Or, oh my god, I'm sorry, that's supposed to be an object that's supposed to be deleted. Let me get on there. Let me add that to the list of fixes that I'm doing. I don't appreciate being ignored. And, you know, it comes back down to this toxicity thing that we've been talking about, you know. Well, like I said, it's not typically the modders that bring the toxicity, but there are modders and there are community contributors that will not give you the time of day unless you're paying them in donations. And it's the truth. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's the truth. people like Clutch Simulations, for example, he's pretty good about involving his entire community, from the people that are paid subscribers to the people that are just watching his streams. He's very good about making sure that they have content and they are recognized. He misses things in the chat all the time, but to be honest with you, I'm glad I don't have 100 people in my chat here while I stream, because I'd miss a bunch of the stuff. You know, I had one person that was really heavily involved in being a member of my community and my streams, and he decided to flip out over something he missed it. And he flipped out, he clipped a piece of it, and he blocked me on every platform so that I couldn't respond to it. Flips out, doesn't allow me to explain anything. It takes something out of context that a lot of people actually wouldn't take out of context. And he was just he was very rude about it. And I really enjoyed dealing with him quite a lot. And I hope he's doing well for himself, I really do. He used to stream as well. But he made it very difficult for people to be involved, and I haven't had that involvement in that growth since, and it's very hard kind of to chat about this and feel whole, you know, because he made up a spirit on the stream. The toxicity hits in a different way in this game than in any other game that I've involved with. And you wouldn't think that drama and toxic behavior happen, but it tends to happen in the community with people that overreact or people that think that they're higher up on the food chain than they are. And some people really are high up on the food chain. They still behave like that, and that's how people are when they get any position of popularity. So I can't say much to my streams, obviously. If you get involved in my conversation, in my chat window, I try to recognize you, or I try to see it. Sometimes I lag behind in actually picking up on chats, but I try to. You know, that's what we do here. We try to pick up on chats and have a nice conversation. Farm sim, about farming techniques, about random things going on in our day. Mama Duck, she's a wonderful streamer. She's got a tight-knit community. You know, she does it for fun. And we never have to worry, you know. When she talks to me, she catches up on family life and everything. She's involved at a family level with what we're doing. And even though I've not necessarily been a good enough acquaintance or friend, whatever she considers me at this point, she still takes the time to say hi when she can. That's important to me. I'm listening to my kid talk in the next room. She'll be 3 in a few weeks here. Best feeling in your life is being a parent. Really, it speaks volumes to me on how I feel. I can go through any struggle in the world, any type of, you know, toxic behavior, chit chat, whatever. I can go through all of it. Still, at the end of the day, I can say hi to my kiddo. Life is
And that's another thing I do. I give commentary on everything. I talk about everything, and I don't think a lot of people like that on the stream. I keep up to date with mods and modders. I try the best I can. I have. Sometimes it feels like I'm on top of it. I had a stream once where I was doing silage. This was last year, and I had something like 82 people. This stream was huge. It was a big deal to me. I was like, whoa, 82 people came in. That's whether they stayed for a long period of time or not, who knows? I had people chit-chatting, and it felt alive, Social commentary is a difficult thing to do, farming, and I'm gonna start putting this in the category of chit-chat as well, like just chatting, just talking, because I feel like I do a lot of talking. And some people may not like it. I mean, obviously when these streams get put up on YouTube, which is rare, I'm falling way behind on that. I'll actually, at the end of today's stream, I'll be uploading all of the Frankenmuth series. So if you've been missing any of the Frankenmuth series, put yourself up in the, put yourself up on YouTube. And I'm under the same YouTube handle as I am on Twitch. Sorry, holy moly! And it's just a stream recap. It's just what happened in the stream. We're just recapping it. If I feel compelled, if I start making some more money, or I start getting a little more time on my hands, and I feel compelled to record. I have thought about actually recording work going on and time-lapsing it. There are YouTubers out there that do a lot of, that have a lot of views just in time-lapse videos. Obviously, I'm not partnered at this point with anybody on Twitch. I'm not monetized on YouTube. I have not ever taken a donation at this point. So there's a lot of things going on in my life that are not making me money, and I don't care about that, because what I'm driven by on this is just if I ever reach a point in my streaming or my recording career where all of a sudden the heavens open up and a large crowd of people see this video and they all start following. In this case, I need 30 more followers to get to 50. This is like the major grind, right? Like being on every day or being on every other day and just trying to do stuff. I used to schedule myself 3 days a week on this, and that didn't feel like it was too straining. Now it's like 3 days a week. I can barely do it. And I typically have 3 days off a week. If I had tomorrow off, I probably would have done an evening stream today. I'm going to start shooting for Tuesday evenings. And we'll start shooting that. I may start even streaming some Minecraft on the side. My wife and I play creative mode on Minecraft all the time. And I would like to get into some creative, make a difference. The little childish things like that. Maybe play a little Forza. And of course, announced for next spring, Forza Motorsport, which is going to take a big front seat for me. I'm not going to do shooters on here. I've already decided. I'm just going to stay away from that sort of thing, because it's not the thing that typically makes me happy. Farm Simulator is kind of a way to withdraw from the rest of it. And so I've pushed myself away from
doing anything too. Of course, if you look at my YouTube videos, I have a few streams up from the Mass Effect stream. It was different then. You know, I stream very different from what I stream like now. And so if you were ever interested in seeing what it looked like when I first got going, there's some great material in there to make fun of me with. Alright. 96. Getting to jump into John Deere Classics. I love... The Sid Modding has done an amazing job with these. Now, I was a little taken aback at first over modeling. You know, he does a very good job modeling stuff, and no credit for it. There are some things that I wish that didn't come up short in anybody's modeling technique, but that's because the modeling that gets done isn't necessarily the best. The engine, sorry, isn't necessarily the best. Sid makes loading screens, you know, and all sorts of other things with his tractors. The John Deere combine, the X9 combine that he makes, will complain when it's starting to leak. It's getting close to that. So there's all sorts of details and things that he puts into his vehicles that really make a difference. Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, there's a few other modders that I take advantage of when it comes to mods, and I really need to stop. They are really kind of awesome guys. The community is pretty awesome as well. Some of this stuff is like modded to the gills. Just absolutely modded. I don't think I play, at least on this map right now, I don't think there's a single thing as far as implements that's basic. Oh, the slurry equipment. A lot of the slurry although I have considered as of late going ahead and picking up this airplane saddle track. That's just because, you know, when you're running a farm this big, you get rid of things. You get basic things that you work with. So, part of it is my fault for just being so There are a lot of solid pieces of base game equipment out there. There's a lot of solid pieces of implements. Kubota, obviously, they added tractors, side-by-sides, skid steers, and a regular front. So, but all the equipment came directly from the modder, the implements. Match the tractors. A modder who doesn't have a whole lot of mods on console. The guy did a lot of stuff on PC. FS22. A lot of people criticize his stuff because it was wacky color, things like that. Got all that Kubota stuff available to us. Like I said, I'm kind of waiting. The next map will be Kubota Versatile. I'm just waiting to see what these other maps look like in comparison to what I've gotten so far. Vineland, New Jersey. And I know a map that has to do with New Jersey. And New Jersey's called the Garden State for a reason. There are actual portions of the state that are beautiful. The basic people don't typically live in them. There are portions of farmlands and logging and all sorts of other country industries that actually come from New Jersey. It's not Contrary to what people think, it's not just a land, right? So it's not fair to people. Slack just yet. But you know, there is that. I have been experimenting with that map a little. I don't know if that'll end up being the base game option. But there are a few things that I'm actually working on that map currently. So we may go to East Vineland, New Jersey in the end. It depends on the mods themselves and how they work out. Obviously, if that map Canada works out, we'll have that. I'll have a half day of work here on Monday. Working out on Tuesday. We've got kind of that going on, so I won't be working like normal stuff on Tuesday. Heavy duty stuff on Tuesday. I'll be working in my normal route, but it's a lot more heavy than anything else. And then of course Tuesday night. Not really sure at this point how much sleep I actually get this week. Like I said, I dropped World of Warships Legends. Dropped that like a hot potato this last week. Yeah, it's a little depressing. I've been playing that game for 3 years. The toxicity was just absolutely off the wall, awful this week. The streamer who happens to have the same name as me, we talk on the regular. We're actually friends over Xbox. When I encountered and became his friend, I had no idea he was actually on YouTube. So it's kind of like, it's a big revelation to see the guy on YouTube. Wait, I've been chatting with that guy and hanging out and playing this game. So there are a lot of good experiences, and I can tell you, personally, I enjoy his content. I don't watch a whole lot of it, but I am subscribed to his YouTube channel. Watching on occasion. There are a lot of things that I actually enjoy, and to just be attacked by other members of his community in particular for the fact that our tags are similar. Really kind of stupid. I had some guy who told me I needed to change my gamer tag. He forcefully said I needed to change it because I was trying to imitate this guy. And I literally had an argument with a guy about how my name is literally that name. And I had my gamer tag longer than that guy who was streaming. And he told me I hadn't. He told me there was no way. So rather than put up with that kind of abuse over a gamer tag, I decided that the best thing that I could do is to just kind of duck out. So it's one of those things when you play a game long enough, it's a part of your life, like every day of your life, and then all of a sudden it's not anymore. There's a huge gap there. There's like a big spot in your brain that says, time to go grind away at this for a while because there's challenges in this. Wait, no, there isn't. I still enjoy the game as a whole, but because of the amount of messages lately, I don't enjoy it, and it's been very hard, and I quit, and I uninstalled the game, and I'm just like, it's not working good on my mental capacity. My mental health suffers aside from being abusive. And, I stream, obviously. If you have a harsh opinion of my stream, tell me about it. I've never had somebody come at me over a stream. That's never been an issue, and I don't think it needs to be an issue. But the reality is I've had people come at me on lots of things on Xbox, but I've never had anybody come after me. It's hard. It's hard when you have overly anxious people. Sometimes say want to play the game. Things not really into the multiplayer sense of this game. I haven't found anybody that I really like yet to play the game with. There's been a couple instances of some fun things that happen. Nobody that's ever taken it like seriously, and I don't want to take this seriously anymore. I'm literally just grinding away silage. That's what I'm doing. And I've never had anybody really give their input on what they think about the stream. Whoop. I've never had anybody give their input on the stream. Besides the one person that ended up leaving because of misunderstood. I've never had anybody leave because of the stream. I've never had anybody criticize the stream itself. So I haven't dealt with the toxicity of streaming life. And I mean, I streamed on, God, I can't even remember the name of the platform now, the Xbox only platform that we had there for a while outside of George. I'm trying to remember for the life of me what it was. Anyway, I streamed on that for a while. Mixer, great. I streamed on that for a while, and I never got anybody watching. I streamed. I streamed a couple other little things here and there. It never came to anything, you know. Obviously, Xbox put a lot of money into putting some big-time streamers on that for a while, and that's cool. I mean, when you're a corporation and you can dogpile in there. The other thing is, as everybody streams, right? So the reason I don't have negativity is I've got a very specific style of game that I stream, and that has a very narrow group of people that actually enjoy that type of stream. Now, it may be a large number when you look at a number overall, but when you look at the numbers compared to other streams, it's a very small, tight-knit group. And that's okay. I mean, that's the thing about Farm Sim, right, is you're never quite sure, you know, the impact. The community is really tight, but I mean, I've talked to people that have played a ton of Farming Simulator, and they don't know who Clutch Simulations is, they don't know who Mr. Sealy P is, and they don't know who DJ Goham is. DJ really kind of rose the ranks rapidly for his antics and his fun style. I call it fun style because whenever I watch, it just kind of makes me laugh. The guy is willing to make a fool of himself because it's his personality. He's got what I call the quote-unquote goofball personality, you know, the kind of the life of the party, if you will. Because he takes such a fun approach with it. I take a real dry approach. My approach closely actually matches Mr. Sealy P, and I feel like Mr. Sealy P probably does a better job of it than I do, by a country mile. I love that guy. I hope someday that guy stumbles on my streams and I get to show my love back, because he's the one that inspired me to stream this in the first place. You know, he takes an afternoon, plays his daughter's game, finds out he really enjoys it, and then a little while later decides to stream it because why the hell not? I'm already playing it. And instant sensation. You know, as far as the community is concerned, instant sensation. Right? And his stuff is solid, well-played game mechanics that deserve, you know, kind of a standing ovation. Because he's good at the commentary, but he's also good at the role playing. You know, I could sit here and I could talk about my plans on what I'm going to do with this silage, but I'm not just doing a small YouTube video. I'm doing like an actual stream here. So there's no cutting to the next scene or anything like that. And of course, I sit here and I'm praising him. He deals with a lot of toxicity from people that tell him he should do things differently. And I think that goes hand in hand with the type of fan base that you have in farm sim, is they want to see specific things. Silage harvests have never been an issue for me. I can do a silage harvest, and you know, I'll pick up a bunch of unique viewers for the stream. I won't necessarily pick up a follower, but I will pick up viewers. And that's been a problem. I've been stalled. I've been stalled at 30 followers for a while now. Of course, when Farming Simulator 22 came out, I had a lot of heated expressions. It was very frustrating. It was a very frustrating stream, that first stream, because none of it worked. In fact, the game didn't work for a very, very long time streaming on Xbox. To this day, it still provides me a message that says this game does not allow for streaming. And obviously, we're sitting here and you're seeing the stream, so that's not an issue. But I'm sitting here, I'm grinding corn half the afternoon away, you know. And it kind of feels like this is the one now that I've hit Farming Simulator 22. Things aren't really changing, you know, and in Farm Sim in general, things are not really changing. So it's hard to say if what I'm doing is having any real effect. And obviously, I started working, and I was still streaming Farming Simulator 19 because that's what it was. I'm working now, so I don't have as much time to devote to streaming. It just seems like it's almost like it's too much for me to handle, you know. I don't want people to feel that way. Obviously, you know, there'll be some evening streams coming up here that probably won't be quite as long. Because, surprise, surprise, silage harvests take forever. But, there's the break in the field. Silage harvests take forever, but we're getting to that point where it's going to be a lot of plowing and rock picking. And not a whole lot else will be going on. I do have a grinder, so I've been grinding out some of my own lime from the stones that I've been using. I need to be careful because I don't want to mulch the hay in the field next to it. This poor forage harvester will literally get done this corn harvest, and then we'll move over to the third cutting of hay. That's right, people. September 3rd cut. We're actually making it. Gotta step out here for a moment and actually take a look at this. Luckily, we've got a tad bit of land separating us, so we can grind up what's left. I'm just gonna shut the leave it on, shut down the harvester itself. You can see this is well growing in here. Now, hay has changed considerably compared to the old system with precision farming. It doesn't seem to require as much nitrogen. You can see the expected yields are still rather large off of this field. So we will be getting to this shortly. We'll be doing some mowing, some windrowing, and then get it picked up with this grinder here, and then
ahead and dry it. I keep the head up when we're traveling over this because we don't want to mulch this grass. This is my one area where I'm real nervous. I'll make sure that we're on the cornfield when we start that back up. I don't want to cause issues. Obviously, if I mulch a little hay back, it's really not going to hurt anything. As you can see, we don't even need field mulching yet on that hay. Be on, like I said, we'll be on the third cutting there. I think you get about 3 or 4 harvests per field before the data needs to be precision farming. So probably take those hay fields as we need to restore pH balance and nitrogen balance. Do some soil sampling as well. Come over down on this end and do the same thing. Now this end will probably receive a roadway. So the field right here with lime, the plan is to plant hay. Probably put a roadway in anyway. We've cut crops on the side. The land just isn't separate enough, and there's no way to access the other side of the map. At least with the map design that they have, there's a long driveway by that house. Probably not see on the stream. If you can see it on the stream, it's good for you. Glad you can. There's a house over there with a driveway, and use that driveway to get back and forth because there's a private drive that connects to the roads over there. And so just trying to use that for both. Now, one of the things about this direction is we don't have that. The other thing that I might do, depending on the consumption rate of food, is I may decide beef cow is worth it. Dairy cows have consumption rate low to other productions. We're already producing flour. We're already producing chocolate. Some strawberry ice cream. I have maple syrup and I have honey as well. Yeah. We'll try to do tours of those areas. What I'm going to try to do is hit production on the last day of the month. Just kind of this at the time. Obviously, because we're running hydroponic greenhouses, we need to make sure that we fertilize water. 7 greenhouses to actually product. That's the thing, is we haven't had any problems with that so far. It doesn't run it down as quick as I thought it was going to. Greenhouses in FS19 because they ran out of water rapidly. We're talking a lot of water. Now, I did a lot of greenhouse growing on playthrough with raising pigs. And I can remember running into the difficulties. I wanted it for extra crops so that I could sell it and have more money to buy pig food. Because the thing about pigs, even running it on seasons or say not running it on seasons, is pigs require a ton of food. Basically, it's the one animal that is guaranteed to keep you busy collecting food all year round. The thing that I'm finding with this is that we can probably collect this food here, and this will actually run us for a couple of years. Which, on the one hand, compared to the old system, is really nice and excites me just a tidbit, because it means rummaging for food. I can take a break and actually run some
standard crops. But on the other hand, it shows kind of a flaw in the system. So we're going to see over the winter and spring just what kind of consumption rate these animals have. That will dictate really kind of where we stand. Straw, obviously, we have to use crops, cereal crops that use straw. Produce cereal crops that I would like to see some wheat harvester heads that are like traditional winter wheat. Excuse me. Where they, you cut it with a hay bine, and then you take that swath that you've cut where it's just dumped in the stock, and have pickup heads. Pick it up and put it into the concrete. I would love to see that reality. I don't know why Giants hasn't done that as an option. And I'm not criticizing because obviously Giants does a ton of things. But being able to mow down wheat swaths, let's say like a on self-propelled hay bine, would be a really cool thing to see farmers. That would give us another option. Well, I can't afford this 50-foot draper header, but I can afford a pickup header. This is actually a good idea. Maybe I can afford the Macathon because I'm doing grass at the same time. There are a lot of different options, and there are a lot of different proposed options for this. It isn't just one thing, but unfortunately, for the sake of the game, certain things have to get cut or certain things just don't work. And I don't know what they try. I don't know that they do try any of that, because I'm not a game developer. How do I know what Giants try versus what they don't try? But it would be really cool to see something like a Macadon, hay bine, cutting down the wheat because they have a cutting head. These cutter heads aren't just reserved for combines. And I mean, the twin knife with our self-propelled John Deere diesel mower, that's an excellent example of that. Obviously, disc bind options are available for various mowers. Hey, let's do this. Let's try to load in. This is actually interesting. I wasn't expecting that was there. Oh. I just ran into the cattle barn. We do have ag tires on this current FS22. Fill in that spot right there first. There. These are just quick distribution product. Obviously, if the product hits a ceiling where it's not gonna upward anymore, you can easily just kind of stop the gaps. I've never had a packed flat on top. Not sure. It's like I Brought the bulldozer in because of a ton of product. I want to have it. Obviously, blade's gonna have to come off of there. It's 1.4 million liters. As you can see, it pretty much comes right to the 2 million level. There's the 1 million. Want to have, obviously, we want to pack this out really well. Go ahead and turn the sucker on. I don't know how well this is honestly going. I haven't tried to move the chaff around with it. You can tell there's not much to it yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to detach the blade. Let's see how well this packs it. This going to be our first experiment. See how we have a ledge way up. Let's see if we can't get this sucker in. Okay. First real foreseeable issue is just getting the sucker up on top of the mound here. Now, of course, this is heavier than most machinery out there. This is still a light bulldozer. This is not a real heavy duty. I'm gonna pack this top end in. That's the thing, is we want to shift the edges so that they have packed material in. Kind of the best sort of packing you can have. Our best option still may be a blade with a packer on it. Round out the top of these. I like most of the front leveler blades on the tractors currently. Obviously, one of the things that happens a lot of times with these things is they just get stuck. With a shorter chassis, they can come off their tracks. This has got a track that runs pretty much the entire length of the chassis itself. May not run into that problem. Still, it's good to practice, and I want to practice, or I want to try it out prior to us filming. Obviously, it packs halfway decent, and I use my silage. Up at the top, it's going to pack even better. Caterpillar treads. So it doesn't do a bad job at packing. It doesn't necessarily do the best job at it, but it doesn't do a bad job either. It looks like you can get things shifted around. Caterpillar treads are wide enough. It looks like you can honestly get stuff shifted around on top of this thing. But it does also look like you can get stuff as well. So we're going to leave it like that, 16% packed. I do like the bulldozer, like the design is really good and everything else too. It's not like it's a poorly designed piece of machinery. Construction equipment tends to be more limited because people don't download it as often, so the modder kind of pumps it out. This is pretty much a cat bulldozer, just without the cat logo on these things. Caterpillar is one of those brands that we haven't managed to see new license. Oops. Opted and shut it off. Shove this back out this way towards the harvester. Taking care of the little alcoves here. Have to do one of Bunk is looking good though. That is actually looking pretty good overall. I'm happy with the yellow color. This John Deere 8000 is doing a fine job. It's a little harder. See, fuel consumption is higher on it too. I wouldn't give it that much fuel here. Go ahead, we'll get this field done, and we'll see what time it is. Looks like it's 2:21. I think we'll probably go to 3 today. Just because I have a few other things to take care of. We'll probably leave this silage, the remainder of the silage harvest for Tuesday evening. Get some silage done. Through. I'm going to try to keep it to evening until I at least get past my auto. Which, like I said, is a few weeks off now. There's planning and other things that have to be done. There's cleaning, there's yard work, there's all sorts of things to consider. And of course, there's the fact that once we're through July, August will be upon us. Once we're into August, through August, September will be there. And once September comes and fall time comes, at fall, things tend to slow down for me. Small burst for winter, and there's nothing. So, small burst for preparations. Live in a state like I do, where 5 months out of the year is winter, you tend to start thinking about winter now instead of a couple of months from now. Still chugging through corn. Having a great time today. Forage harvesting is the most fun. Luckily for us, a lot of people. We'll have some classic combines next year to use, or next year in game to use. So that should make life a little easier. And depending on how much straw we have left will really kind of dictate whether I use serial crops in. Obviously, it requires a little worse section of weather. It doesn't survive through the winter like it does. So that would be our serial. Should we need some for straw? Excuse me. Also, doing it for Tuesday evening means that I can spend some time with the family, means I can catch up on shows and things.
doing a little more for myself after touching the toxicity on so it's been a bit of a struggle back for me. Work 40 hours a week and 10-hour days. Even though you have a little more time, I'd like to spend less of that time actually grinding on games. Quite tiresome. So the 8,000, it doesn't appear that the 8,000 runs as efficiently as the 9,000. That's okay. It does not have to. It just has to run. So I've lost a lot of ground on. It's kind of like a sad day, if you will. I think about how much ground I gained at the beginning of this stream, and how much I've lost really since the stream. Gained some ground. It's been hard. It's been a little depressing. It's definitely been something that I never imagined. Okay. So one of the things that I have noticed about corn is corn doesn't tend to cause an issue with the pH balance for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because I am grinding the corn stalks. I don't know if mulching is adding more pH to the level on the field here. But I have noticed that the pH value stays perfect in the soil, as in it does not change. Now you come into here. Let's see, mulched doesn't show up because it needs plowing. But if you take care of all of it, you can see plowing. Now these brown speckles in here, these are all weeds that were killed when I did spraying. And then down in here you may have noticed it shows needs rolling. I don't think I'd roll that field. That's got the poplar in it currently. So we're not gonna roll that because that's silly. There is quite a lot of weed growth in field 27. There's none in 29 currently, but that shut rolling off. And you can see these farm fields, these need plowing again. So one of the things that will happen is we will actually come in here for a good part of the October months and actually, till up the ground, start rock picking. You can see we've got rocks concentrated up here that need to be taken care of, and rocks concentrated down here. This is what a stone picking looks like when you've got a rig that does it, but what'll happen is these fields will be planted and then rolled. And once that occurs, they'll push down the rocks. The tillage that we use for plowing does not actually have that much on it doesn't tend to dig deep enough to pull up big rocks. Now, if it did, I mean, we'd still be pulling up big rocks, but they are smaller in stature. So being smaller in stature means that, as far as I can tell, we'll be able to get away with more. Down here, we're going to get the last little bit that we need to here. Dear Lord. I thought it was 2 because I was looking at the wrong clock. That's off. It's actually almost 2 right now. I thought it was 2:30. Ooh, what is this? Leftovers. Let's take care of this before we go take care of that water. What we're actually going to do is we're going to save the rest of this for Wednesday night. I love having that nice streak of this. I'm going to save the rest of this for Tuesday. Just because we're going to do a part 1 and part 2. We'll go as late as we need to on Tuesday. I'm too tired to continue. We'll even pick up on the same day. I don't think we need to slow down the days yet. September is sort of thing. Got that field next to us, which is a humongous field. So it looks like we're probably, now that I'm seeing the type of output we're getting on these fields, if we get half of what we've got going here, these fields aren't giving off a good, these really aren't giving off a very good yield. It may be a soil issue, to be honest. Obviously, you can't have the seeding completely fail like you do on FS22 seedlings. You could actually have germination fail pieces of your crop, especially if you didn't rotate your crop around. But that's not the case here. You have to rotate the crop. You don't have to do anything special with it. So according to nitrogen levels here, 6,000 or a 6.75. Nitrogen is at 200 kilograms. Nitrogen is at 200 kilograms here. See, it's not changing. It's not changing anything. I don't know if that's because of mulching or what's going on. If this all goes to soybean, that means we're not going to use a single percentage of fertilizer. It could just be the game taking forever to actually realize what's going on. Actually, field data takes a minute to change. And I've noticed that data engine has to move rising because it always takes a minute to change. So it may just be the fact that this hasn't come. I don't know, to be honest. It makes me slightly nervous because I'm not really sure how to handle it. But at the same time, I can honestly say if it's soybean, it's not going to matter what the levels are for nitrogen anyway. Soybean carries nitrogen. So if everything follows that line, then it's irrelevant kind of nitrogen levels. Now, it may not be irrelevant in the long run. Something maybe keeps it from irrelevant. right now, as it stands, everybody I've watched on YouTube has had the same experience as I have. I don't see too many people running crops with precision farming yet. That hasn't. Mr. CLP, who I consider I grasps on any he can, has kind of grasping at the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same. We're gonna get this in, and then we're gonna see what's for that. I'm hoping at least for half. I'm just gonna keep doing myself on my other end. Just makes it easier because then I don't drive into the crop and take the direction. Let's see which section is going to get us. You can see there's a lot of green fields in this field. Also, I am getting extremely hungry. I haven't had much to eat since breakfast. It's now 2 o'clock here. Breakfast was at like 8 today. So. This way may aggravate more people as it's more repetitive than normal harvesting. I've got to try to keep myself going into the other fields. Obviously, one of the things I made at the end of this first day. Like I said, consumption. So, I mean, it may not even be low to some. In comparison to what we've had in the past, consider. I would have to cows ranging in that. Fold up the head here. That's about just 2 years. Actually, I detached the head on this. Let's detach that. So like I said, we're going to pick up exactly where we left off in this day. So we're just going to drive this 8,000 right here. We're going to take care of that field across the street to the others. These were all technically 5 separate fields that we just dealt with. Should be. There it is. Silage additive. This one goes in this bucket. Stopped for a minute. Pull the harvester over to here. We're going to let it go on tank of gas. Like I said, the TLX pickup that we have has a service bed with an option. Diesel storage. Well, I went the wrong way with the arrow. You can see a lot more than probably what you were supposed to. Okay. We've reached the 3-hour mark of the stream today. Go ahead. Dump this last load into there. A literage count for this chunk. I'd like to see 1.6 million on the scale. Obviously, this is not a full tree as we have. I want to do it by sections. This section is our first section, that's our second, and then our 2 fields over there. The 2 fields over there are rather large in size. Attach and pull this tractor out of the way. Alright, let's offload the silage. And we'll call the stream a day. Fill in that gap over there. You can see where the bulldozer kind of packed things down on top of that. So, let's see. Alright, so that section alone made us 1.5 1.5 million liters. It is actually not that far off from being 1.6. I'm wholeheartedly impressed by this, actually. And we'll get the bulldozer up to kind of pack it at the end of it. It's got a 15% compaction rate at the moment. It's not completely full, and what we want to do is we want to kind of fill out this corner next. We'll fill it all out, even it out, and then we'll move on back to here and just fill it. So that is gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. It is a lot of work to get these things set up sometimes, but they're a labor of love, as it's called normally. And that's no different here. But I'm going to get myself something to drink and something to eat. Kind of relax for a little bit, get ready for work tomorrow morning. I'm going to be up at 5:30, my normal time, to get out the door for 7. Yeah, water, icky. They need to have that boom arm mower again. So anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the stream today. If you're watching it today, maybe you're watching this tomorrow or at another time. Maybe the next time we dive into the stream and we get through the rest of this day, we can also take the time to feed some of the animals and bed some of the animals. Get the bedding down for them. Bedding is straw and very easy, and got a pile of it, as you can see there, as well as some in that barn. So thanks again, guys, for coming down to the farm, and thanks so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend. I know I'm going to try, and I'll see you all next time.